It started as a joke. For friends, Alex, Mia, Jordan, and Emily were bored on a Friday night and looking for something to do. At the very edge of town there was an abandoned playground, the kind of place everyone whispered about but no one visited after dark. The streetlights near it had long since burned out, and a chain-link fence leaned crookedly around the cracked pavement and rusted equipment. Local kids said the swings sometimes moved on their own. Some claimed they had heard faint voices when the place was empty. It sounded like nothing more than ghost stories, which made it the perfect destination for a midnight dare. "Come on, it'll be fun," Jordan said as he parked the car beside the fence. "We'll take some pictures, maybe film a TikTok. 5 minutes and we're gone." The others laughed nervously and agreed, climbing over the fence and stepping onto the forgotten playground. The place looked even creepier up close. Moonlight revealed weeds pushing through broken pavement, graffiti smeared across the slide, and a merry-go-round leaning to one side as if ready to collapse. The swings dangled on rusted chains that squeaked softly in the breeze. "This is so creepy," Emily whispered. "It feels like something out of a horror movie." Mia tried to hide her unease by pulling out her phone, turning on the flashlight. "Perfect setting for one," she joked, though her smile didn't last long. For a while they walked around, laughing too loudly, pretending they weren't afraid. But then Alex stopped and raised a hand. "Did you hear that?" he asked. The group fell silent. At first there was nothing, only the faint sound of insects in the grass. And then it came again. High-pitched, faint, unmistakable. The sound of children laughing. They froze, looking around. The playground was empty. Shadows stretched across the cracked pavement, but no children were there. "Probably just the wind," Jordan muttered, though his voice cracked. Nobody believed him. The laughter had been too clear. Then came the creak of metal. One of the swings began to move. Slowly, gently, as if an invisible child had just sat down. It rocked back and forth, higher with each pass. Mia lowered her phone and whispered, "Tell me you guys see that." All of them nodded silently. Emily's voice trembled. "Let's leave." Jordan forced a laugh, trying to sound braver than he felt. "It's probably rigged. Somebody messing with us. Watch." He walked to the swing and grabbed the chain. The swing stopped instantly, hanging motionless. He smirked and turned back to his friends. "See? Nothing." But before he could finish, another swing jerked to life behind him. It moved violently, as if shoved by unseen hands. Then another began to sway, then another, until the entire row of swings rocked back and forth in unison. The laughter returned, louder this time, echoing unnaturally across the playground. What should have sounded playful now seemed sharp and twisted, layered with tones that didn't feel human. Emily covered her ears and shouted, "This isn't funny." Mia shook her head, her flashlight beam trembling in her grip. "There's no one here," she whispered. Alex reached for Jordan's arm. "We should go. Right now." But before they could move, the merry-go-round began to turn. Rusted metal groaned as the carousel spun slowly at first, then faster, squealing like a living thing. None of them were touching it. Panic broke their silence. They sprinted toward the fence, hearts pounding, but the laughter followed them. It multiplied, dozens of voices giggling, whispering, calling out words they couldn't quite understand. When they reached the spot where they had climbed in, they stopped short. The gap in the fence was gone. In its place stood a wall of jagged boards and rusted metal, as if it had been there for years. "This way," Emily cried, pointing toward the slide. But the slide didn't look the same. It seemed taller, stretching into the sky at an impossible angle. Shadows pooled around its base, thick and black like liquid tar. Mia raised her phone again, but the flashlight flickered and died, even though the battery had been full. The others tried theirs too, but none of the screens lit up. One by one, every device failed. Darkness swallowed the playground. And in that suffocating blackness came the sound of movement. Soft, light footsteps across gravel, like small bare feet running in circles. The laughter rose again, surrounding them, pressing in closer, until it felt as though dozens of children were hidden just beyond the edge of sight. Alex whispered, "They're all around us." His words trembled in the cold night air. Then something brushed against his leg. He yelped and stumbled back, but nothing was there. Mia grabbed his hand, tears streaming down her face. "We need to get out," she cried. They tried to run in the opposite direction, but the playground seemed different now. The slide towered impossibly high, the swings stretched farther into the dark, and the merry-go-round spun endlessly in the distance, even though no one touched it. The whole place felt alive, shifting and bending, trapping them inside. The laughter changed again, no longer playful but mocking. A whisper broke through, clear enough for all of them to hear, "Stay with us." Emily screamed. Something unseen tugged her hair hard enough to make her fall. She scrambled up, clawing at the darkness, but the footsteps circled closer. Gravel crunched under invisible feet, moving faster, closing in. Jordan, usually fearless, was sobbing now. "Please stop. We didn't mean to." His words cut off when the swing chains rattled violently, echoing like metallic screams. The air grew icy cold. Breath puffed from their mouths in pale clouds. Then silence. Sudden, suffocating silence. The swings hung still. The merry-go-round froze. Even the insects outside the fence had gone quiet. The friends clutched each other, gasping, waiting for something to happen. And then, right behind them, a child's voice whispered softly, almost sweetly, "Do you want to play?" The last thing they heard before the darkness swallowed them completely was the sound of dozens of children laughing together, shrill and endless, as if the playground had finally welcomed its newest toys.